What's up? This is Megan Good, and you're watching Video Web.
I'm Marques Johnson, and you're watching Video Web.
Lucius Allen, and you're watching Video Web.
Hi, I'm Maxine Waters, and I'm watching Video Web.
You're watching Video Web.
You're watching Video Web.
Telling tales and biting nails are gone, but in my mind I know they will still live on and on. But how do you thank someone who's taken you from crayons to perfume? It isn't easy, but I'll try. If you wanted the sky, I would write across the sky in letters that would soar 1,000 feet high to serve with love. Those awkward years have hurried by. Why did they fly away? Why is it, sir, children grow up to be people one day? What takes the place of climbing trees and dirty knees in the world outside? What is there for you I can buy? If you wanted the world, I'd surround it with a wall. I'd scrawl these words with letters 10 feet tall to serve with love.
And also, I'd like to bring up everybody back here who has played either in the NBA, the NFL, Major League Baseball, who Coach West has had an influence in their life. Daryl, come on up, Daryl Strawberry. Akbar, come on up. All the city players here, people who've gone on and did other things outside of basketball, and that's what we're talking about. Fremont, Eric Davis, Fremont. But it's Eric Davis. Eric, stand up and see him now. Eric Davis is one of the greatest athletes, even though he was from Fremont, he's not going to let us get him. But he's here, he is here in support of Coach West tonight. That gives you an idea of how much Coach West is revered and respected around this city.
And the third person we're going to honor today is a local legend, Willie West. Coach Willie West at Crenshaw High School. Just give you a thumbnail. 16 city championships, 5 times runner-up. Also in his resume, 8 state championships. Also 1 world high school championship. The only coach in the history of the city of Los Angeles to win city titles 3 consecutive years, 3 times. The only coach to have won 5 consecutive LA City championships. When you look at the other issues, Coach of the Year, several times Coach, California Coach of the Year. And when recently I was at Crenshaw, where his prior ball players came to honor him. And it obviously was a club of, everyone there was over 6 foot tall. But to have 50 young people from Eric Davis to Daryl Strawberry to John Williams and people that we grew up watching in high school sports all came through Crenshaw High School under his leadership, all became athletic stars at different levels, and all of them as good people. So we have 3 people that we believe are stars in our community, and in the athletic field, they've all impacted individuals on the academic field in the sense of Coach West is not only the coach but also an instructor. Mike Garrett certainly could not have the success as an athletic director had he not kept his athletes in class and passing those grades. And certainly Sam Cunningham, having graduated and continued on with his success, not only in business, but now as an author, is an indication that he certainly appreciated that time in an academic institution. So let me ask Wesson to come up and make some comments, and then we'll give him the individual class.
Thank you, Councilman Parks. I really appreciate that you were able to put this together. And I learned something from you today because I wondered why I wasn't invited to that event at Crenshaw, but when you said that everybody was 6 feet and over, then that explains why I did not receive my invitation, and I can live with that. Okay. Anyway, you know, coaching, being a former, Pop Warner coach or what have you, you always strive for perfection, even though that's elusive. Perfection is something that you really can't obtain, but I want to say that Coach West did do that. He had a team that went 31-0, and the effect that you've had, so you weren't perfect. You were perfect, they were perfect, but the effect that you've had on hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of young men, we can't say enough for how you helped them personally. And I also can't say enough for Sam Bam Cunningham. You had to watch him play to see just how, this big fella, the moves that he could make, and when he didn't feel like moving, he just ran you over. He brought a lot of pride to our community, and they were just, and I'm trying to think of the few years that you had a backfield mate that was a little guy, and between the two of them, you just could not control them. And so I'm honored that you're here, that you still live in the area. And where it relates to Mr. Garrett, I want to say one of the first Sports Illustrated magazines I ever read, you were featured, and they talked about all of the phenomenal things that you had done, and it was really great to watch you. I think he had moves that were just so subtle, and you could, with a blink, he could make people miss, and he rarely got hurt. And as you can tell, he was not the biggest back in the league, but he was very, very effective. And lastly, I will say this, and this is something that my son, who's a UCLA student, just can't understand, that how I can be always cheering for USC and UCLA at the same time, because they're California, Los Angeles teams. But what you've done, Mike, at USC, to bring in coaches like Carroll and Floyd, I guarantee you, not only will SC be a powerhouse in football, you are seeing a change, a great change in the basketball program. And I do feel that they will make the tournament this year and that they will beat a lot of people because of your gut feeling and bringing in the right person. This USC basketball team has defeated about 6 ranked teams, and I cannot remember the last time that has occurred. So at least what we can do is to let the 3 of you know just how much we appreciate everything that you've done for not only the universities, but this great city of Los Angeles. Let's give them another round of applause.
Mr. Parks and Mr. Wesson, and when we look for extraordinary athletes to honor during African American History Month, we look south, not west, but south. South, to the University of Southern California, yet again, for the second time this morning.
Would you say that again for when you hear?
The University of Southern California. Maybe I should say
I heard that.
for the second time. And I have to say to Mr. Garrett, and when I asked him to help me brainwash my own child so that she would believe that it was her idea to want to attend the University of Southern California, I must tell you it's beginning to work. we have time. But I am honored to honor these men for their hard work and their dedication, because they have set such positive examples for our young people, and they demonstrate through their accomplishments that perseverance, commitment, and hard work enables an individual to achieve. And they are role models, and it's just a real pleasure to stand with them today and to thank them for their contribution as positive role models and as mentors, and to show as an example that this is a pathway to success. So thank you very much, Mr. Parks and Mr. Wesson, for including me.
And before we go to, we have two speakers, Councilmember Smith and Councilmember LeBonge would like to say a few words.
Being the only guy who came prepared today, I just want to say a couple things. First of all, to Sam Bam Cunningham, the story about how you broke the African-American Black barrier in the South will live on long beyond your years. And what happened in that football game opened the barrier up and broke down those barriers in the South. But I remember the story I read that when after the game was over, that Coach Bear Bryant pulled his team together and said, "Gentlemen, that is what a football player looks like, and we're going to have football players like that here next year." So congratulations on what you did down there and opening up the South to the reality of what America is all about. So congratulations to you. And Mike Garrett, you know, your imprint, not just as a football player, but as athletic director, who lived long after you're gone too. But I think you have great value to LA is what you don't get a lot of credit for, I think, and you should. That's the Swim with Mike program, your summer programs with youth, all you do for the young people of the community around South Central LA and around USC. And it's not often talked about, but we in the SC family know what you do. And we're very proud of you as a human being, not just as an athlete, football player, and athletic director. Thank you. And Coach West, your reputation means not many people can string together a couple of wins. We got a guy over at SC who won a few championships, but your championships far exceed what he's done there, and your reputation in this city will live on also. So congratulations to all of you for your accomplishments, not just as athletes, but human beings. God bless you. Thanks.
Madam President, Mr. Parks, Mr. Perry, Mr. Wesson. Coach West, how important have you been to so many young people that are so important to other young people now? Coaches in our high schools deserve great praise. And Mr. Parks, thank you for honoring Coach West. Give him another hand because they're so important. We're going to talk about the youth problem in a couple of weeks here. That's empowering coaches and getting more coaches on campus is going to turn that tide of problems there. And Mike Garrett was at real early on, before you were Roosevelt, he came over and Wolf Marshall. I was a little kid watching, it was a muddy day there. But the pride of Roosevelt High School, all your work, and I kid you every time I see it, because there's a great film that NFL Films does of all the greatness in the Super Bowl, and there's many classic things they've caught. But the one of the most classic is Coach Hank Strand called 65 toss power trap. And Bo Michael takes it on an inside trap play into the end zone. The Chiefs beat the Vikings, and they say that the NFL is real, that Mike Garrett led that. Your career in San Diego, you could have been standing around things like this here. You got away from San Diego, you came back to home, and you've done a great job at the university, and I'm proud of that, Michael. I'm proud of that greatly. And also, Sam Cunningham, I'm proud of what you did and all the athletes around you at the time, because it was a different era, as Coach Smith, I should say that. I'll give you a little credit there. Excuse me. Greg Smith said there. It is very difficult to play competitive sports. And at each level you go up, it gets more difficult. And that classic battle between Alabama and USC, and all the battles that the Trojans have. This hall, this chamber, named after a great Trojan, John Ferraro, who for many years always lived and died after he played for what the Trojans did. But what you did is you changed the dynamics of pro football, of college football, of high school football, and got education for young people, which is so important. I'm so proud to call you a friend, and all that you do. He is also the leading rusher of all time in the New England Patriots, which is so important. Many people don't always attribute that great professional career that you had. So Sam Cunningham, I love you, and I love all of you, men and Jan Perry as well, for what you do to promote the importance of awareness in African American History Month. Because somebody's going to hear about inspired by Coach West, or some young athlete will hear the tale of Sam Cunningham and they'll be great things. Thank you very much.
Certainly everybody's aware of all of his accolades and championships, and we just want to honor him upon his retirement. He's leaving Crenshaw and retiring. He said he's really going to retire. So we want to say thank you for those accomplishments.
To the President, to members of the Council, and particular Councilman Parks, for inviting me. I think way back in 1971, I was fortunate enough to win a championship my very first year, and I was here to present my team, and I'm very honored to be back when I'm retiring, and to be able to give my appreciation to a lot of young men and young ladies who helped me in various ways in keeping scores and that kind of thing. My coaching staff who assisted me throughout all those years. I want to say something before I forget it. My wife is here she is. Denise, and my newborn 22-month-old baby Christina. I'm very blessed to be able to do that. I'm standing here and I'm watching, she just reminded me that she went to Crenshaw, she's studying over there. She told me her name, but I'm so nervous I forgot. And right here in front of me is a young man that's doing the filming. He's also a former student of mine at Crenshaw. And I also have here a colleague, Denise West, back there, and two of my former principals, Sid Thompson and Willie West. Again, I've put in 39 years at Crenshaw High School, and I don't regret any of that time spent. We've done a lot of great things with a lot of young people who just a couple of weeks ago came back to honor me and my retirement, and it was a great, great feeling to see young boys when I had them who are now men and doing so well in chosen fields, not just in athletics, but also in the law and teaching as well, and various other things. And I was just so proud to see them come back. And again, you know, it's just a pleasure to have been able to be at Crenshaw and to have won as many times as I have. But in order to do that, you got to have good people, and a lot of people like Sam said, they came and they performed to the best of their ability. And I like to think that I gave them my best ability, and I think, you know, in retrospect, that, you know, it's just great, and I'm honored to be here again on my last visit and calling it quits. And I'm still healthy, and I thank the Lord for that.
Telling tales and biting nails are gone, but in my mind I know they will still live on and on. But how do you thank someone who's taken you from crayons to perfume? It isn't easy, but I'll try. If you wanted the sky, I would write across the sky in letters that would soar 1,000 feet high.